And now, the Rusty Stubblefield for President show, featuring world-renowned raconteur, grief counselor, and unemployed auto mechanic, the Reverend Rusty Stubblefield, sharing his unhinged views about politics and religion as the United States of America looks forward to the celebration of its 250th anniversary as one great nation under God, under the leadership of President Donald J. Trump. I'd like to thank y'all for listening to my show. I'd like to thank y'all for listening to my show. We's all got a point of view. I like sharing mine with you. Thank y'all for listening to my show. Rusty Stubblefield for president. Howdy, y'all, and welcome to the Rusty Stubblefield Show. This here is my special Thanksgiving edition. While it may come as a disappointment to some, but as of today, I may have to quit not running for president. You see, at the present time, I's got to devote my full attention to looking for a job as an auto mechanic. I's flat broke and struggling like a buffalo caught in a bear trap to make ends meet. It's going to be mighty hard for me to keep running my own show while I's trying to earn some moolah to pay my monthly obligations. I's mostly working off the books, so I's don't have to pay no taxes. Them fellers at the IRS is some nasty boys to deal with. I like my garnishments on my salad, not in my wages. Like many of y'all, that President Trump feller took away my SNAP benefits. In case y'all didn't know, that there SNAP is a damn acronym for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. You know, freaking food stamps. A lot of my neighbors in Hogs Head Holler, Kentucky is on that there same program too, and we's just got the damn rug pulled out from under us from that bugger Trump. Now we's all got to find another way to pay for our groceries. Once I get me's a job, might be able to buy a loaf of Wonder Bread and a half dozen eggs to place in my fridge for show. I'm still a-wondering about that Wonder Bread. Myself, I don't eat much, and I certainly don't go out to eat at no fancy restaurants like that there McDonald's. As part of my job sermonizing at the Church of Our Lady of Original Sin, which is funded from the kind donations of our 13 weekly parishioners, at least one day a week, I do get alls I can eat on Sunday after church services is over. But there's only so much potato salad a man can eat and only so much coffee a man can drink. As the good book says, man cannot live on potato salad alone. Now, I's heard that over this here past weekend, them rich boy Democrat senators in Washington, D.C. voted to end that there government shutdown and restore my SNAP benefits. But that Trump feller is still fighting again in court. That Trump feller, he's got a love-hate relationship with that there court system. But they's 6 judges on that there Supreme Court who just licks his fat white ass. They's given him immunity from anything he does while discharging his duties of office. Heck, the only immunity I's ever got was from the rabies shot they's give me when I was bitten by a squirrel. You know, before I start boring the ever-loving crap out of y'all, this here is a good time to take a break to listen to some music by that world-renowned composer feller, E. Dude X. This little ditty he, him, his wrote is called Effin' Mess. And I sing it along with my backup singers. They's called the Rustettes, along with them there, theys in that there Electric Love Orchestra. Enjoy, and I'll be right back.
Are you ready for this?
Got myself in a fucking mess. Yeah. Got myself in a fucking mess. Yeah. Got myself in a fucking mess. Getting back to that there government shutdown, in my opinion, those Dems just caved right in. Heck, while it's true I's got to have my 3 squares a day, I's also need health insurance, case I shit the bed someday. Nowadays, I's pretty regular with my toileting. I's pees every morning at 7:30 a.m. and I goes number 2 at 7:35. Only problem is, I don't get out of bed till 9 o'clock. I digress. Anywho, if this here US of A is the wealthiest country on the planet, why does I have to make a choice between either eating or health care? I sure hoping that when that there bill gets sent from the Senate back down to the House of Representatives, them Democrats down there put up a better fight than those Democrat senators did. I's a sure counting on that there Hakeem Jeffries feller. He's got the courage of his convictions. When them Dems win the midterms in 2026, Jeffries will make one fine Speaker of the House. Now, turning your attention back to me, don't y'all get me wrong, I's happy to be preaching my weekly sermons at the Church of Our Lady of Original Sin and continuing indoctrinating y'all at the conflation station. But right now, without that there guarantee of my SNAP benefits and seeing that my health insurance is going to triple in cost, I was on that Obamacare. But now's after them there Republicans got done with it, I probably won't be able to afford that none neither. My search for a job as an auto mechanic has to take priority. Heck, I was in such bad physical shape last week, I went to my local urgent care because everywhere I touched my body, it give me a sharp pain. One of them cute nurses took me into the fixing room, took a look at my hand, and told me my index finger was broken. Problem solved. She bandaged my hand up, told me not to touch myself no more, and I was as good as new. Anywho, given my current financial situation, I might even have to move out of my shack in Hogshead Holler and move into the back seat of my car. Can't say that it's all bad. I's got me an old Buick Roadmaster that I's restored, and she's pretty darn spacious. She's tough on gas, though. That Trump feller says gas prices has gone down since he's been in the White House. How the F would he know when all he drives is a little electric golf cart from one hole to the next on them golf courses he owns? What a damn hypocrite that Trump feller is. On the one hand, he's driving an electric vehicle himself, while on the other hand, he's pushing fossil fuel to the public. Drill, baby, drill. Well, I guess it's cheaper to keep my old Buick parked right where she is. My Buick may not have no running water or toilet, but she provides me with shelter in a storm. I's grateful for what I have. I's got plenty of nothing, and nothing's plenty for me. Speaking about being grateful, we's coming up on celebrating Thanksgiving in a week or two. That there Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays, even though it's one of them there secular type holidays like Christmas. That there President Abraham Lincoln declared Thanksgiving a federal holiday way back in good old 1863. Praise the Lord and praise Abraham Lincoln. Remember, he's the fellow that freed them their suffering slaves from bondage. Lincoln's role in delivering them slaves in the South is analogous like to what Moses did freeing them Jews from captivity in Egypt. Now, who's going to free them Jews from bondage in New York City now that their communist Zoran Mandami is running the show? That Cuomo feller couldn't get the job done. Maybe that their Curtis Sleewer feller can set his guardian angels on him and run him out of town. Now, before I goes any further, it's time to take another minute for a little musical interlude. This week, that world-renowned composer feller E. Dudex hooked me up with a little ditty he wrote for the Thanksgiving holiday called tush push. It's about that play them their football players in Philadelphia used to get their quarterback across the goal line. We's all going to be watching plenty of football while we's gnawing on a turkey leg. After me and the boys is done making a racket, I'll be back to finish indoctrinating y'all with the rest of my sermon.
Come from behind and push my tush. Come from behind and push. Come from behind and push my tush. Come from behind and push.
Ow!
Push my tush.
My, how I loves to sing with the Electric Love Orchestra providing instrumental support, and I just loves the music of E-Dude-X. I feel so much more relaxed and in tune with the world after getting down tonight to some fine music with those soldiers of truth. Well, anywho, you all know I loves history, and the Thanksgiving holiday is as rich with history as you's gonna get. You see, Thanksgiving is associated with them there pilgrims who came to this here North America on the Mayflower in the year of our Lord, 1620. Back then, theys wasn't no US of A. Shit, at the time the pilgrims landed, theys wasn't even any of them there 13 original colonies. It was just those Injuns running around half naked in the woods. Way back then, this here US of A was a utopia, just like that there Garden of Eden was for Adam and Eve. Now, after being persecuted for their religious beliefs back in merry old England, some was even thrown in jail for what they was a-preaching. These pilgrims moved to that there Dutch colony, you know, the Netherlands for a piece, and later chartered a boat, that there Mayflower, to come to North America. They's got lost along the way and winded up in Cape Cod, Massachusetts by mistake. They was headed to Virginia Beach for a short vacay, but they's got sidewinded a bit. Back then, the only navigation systems they's had was the stars and them their constellations. When they's come ashore, they's actually landed in Provincetown. Today, they's call it P-Town for short. That was way before that P-Town was taken over by them there gay fellers. I wonders if any of them there pilgrims was gay or lesbian. Come to think of it, I wonders if any of them there Injun fellers was gay. It was probably that Injun feller named Squanto. His name sounds pretty gay. Well then, theys was just about 100 of them pilgrims on the boat when theys crossed the Atlantic. But within the first year or so of living on American soil, half of them died off due to disease. Theys could have used Obamacare if theys had it back then. Anywho, theys pilgrims come here in search of religious freedom, and theys finally got it. And them there pilgrims, theys laid the groundwork for what the founding fathers of the USA put in that there First Amendment of the Constitution, which centuries later still protects your right and mine to practice whatever religion we so choose without the interference of the government. That is sure one thing we can all, especially me as a preacher, be thankful for on Thanksgiving. Ain't it ironical, though, and even sad, that today so many of us Americans don't respect each other's religions? Just look at what's going on in that there New York City, where these Jews are all again that there newly elected Muslim mayor, Mr. Ma'am Danny. They say that he's again they's Jewish religion and Israel. But now that he's going to be running that there city, I sure hopes they's can all make peace, respect one another, and get along the way them there pilgrims did with them there Native Americans. Now, when these pilgrims landed on Cape Cod, They's also had to set up their own government. The menfolk, they's all worked together to draft a document that come to be known as the Mayflower Compact, and that their compact was an agreement among theyselves to work together for their own common good. And there you have it, plain and simple, a government by the people, for the people. These Pilgrims was more than 150 years ahead of them founding fathers on that there subject. So on Thanksgiving, let us all be thankful for the Pilgrims having the foresight to create the first true democracy on this here continent. Now, let's fast forward 400 years. Today, we be a celebrating Thanksgiving by flying all over this here country to spend time with our family and friends, although this year, given the fact that President Trump is grounding so many planes, this might not be possible for y'all. Well, anywho, people is traveling to eat that annual turkey dinner with all the homemade fixins they think the Pilgrims ate at they's Thanksgiving. But by the way, it may come as a terrible shock to y'all that them there Pilgrims didn't eat no turkeys with they's cranberry sauce on the side on Thanksgiving. They's ate fish, squirmy little eels, and hog's meat. Not nearly as appetizing as our Thanksgiving feasts are today. Alas, this year, if my SNAP check don't come through, I'll be reduced to eating the stale breadcrumbs I was fixing to use to make my stuffing. Trump promised to bring down the cost of food, but that ain't happened. And back in 1620, when these Pilgrims was hanging loose on the Cape, 'cause they didn't have no TVs, no one was watching football games all day. I reckon football was created after the Pilgrims got here, probably by that O.J. Simpson feller and his friends. Somehow football games ain't the same no more now that they's got that there tush-push play. And I ain't seen no marching bands during halftime in several decades. I is sick of listening to the in-depth analysis of those smart-ass commentators during halftime, aren't you? But they's always got that good old Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York City with all them colorful floats. Heck, I don't recognize none of them float characters no more. I still waiting to see Mighty Mouse again. Instead, they's promoting a bunch of hip-hop dudes doing the nasty. They still got them there Rockettes, though, kicking up they's long, slender legs. Now that's one heck of a Thanksgiving holiday tradition worth keeping. But this year, they's Rockettes better be careful. Them there Jews fighting them there Muslims, and them there socialists fighting them Trumpers in the streets of New York City might just dominate the festivities. Well, as I say at the end of each of my weekly sermons, if you and me put our pretty little heads together, we may still be able to figure out how to get this here US of A back on track. Thank y'all for listening.
I'd like to thank y'all for listening to my show. I'd like to thank y'all for listening to my show. We's all got a point of view. I like sharing mine with you. Thank y'all for listening to my show. Rusty Stubblefield for president.